the catch here, which makes this, I think, a topic of such broad interest, is that your plan would allow people to forgive up to $50,000 worth of student loans, but it would also give people who didn't, who already paid theirs, a $50,000 credit. And importantly, it would get the government out of the federal student loan business in the future, right? And how important is that last step in particular here?
Well, it's critically important. The federal government should not be in the business of making, loans directly to consumers. It's, for several different reasons, but probably the most important is that it's an unlimited supply of federal funds chasing an unlimited demand, and the student basically being the facilitator, encouraged by the schools to take on the debt which they burdened for decades. So it's critically important. The other piece of my plan that I think is also important is if you're going to cancel the debt, you don't want to get into a situation where there's going to be a recurrence of those types of loans from the federal government in the future. So you've got to go ahead and make the decision. How are you going to satisfy higher education availability / attainment?
Right.
And that's the reason for a $50,000 go forward education credit allowance that people could use.
Yeah.
So it's all of those in a comprehensive, bold, and quite frankly decisive package that sets the tone.
No, it is super interesting and innovative, and this is a crisis. My dad works with a lot of kids, young people who have student loan debt that when you sit down and look at their financial picture, it's obvious it will never be repaid. Some of their parents have co-signed for this debt, and if it's not repaid, their Social Security could be garnished in the future. I mean, we haven't even begun to grapple with this. My question to you is, what did you see while you were running this particular office that really sort of made it clear to you that this debt is not going to be repaid? And how did we get here?
Well, we got here because, an assemblage of different programs. It really goes back 10 years when the federal government made the decision to have the banks no longer do this under government guarantee, and the federal government would take it on a direct loan basis. And it was really, I think, designed as much as anything to attempt to capture the accounting profits associated with what was being put on the books. But
right.
What really captured my attention, I've been 35 years in the consumer finance business. I went back to school to get a doctorate in higher education leadership / and I focused on student loan debt, and I got that doctorate awarded in 2016. And then in 17, Secretary DeVos asked me to take over the student loan program at the Department of Ed because I had the executive experience, I had the understanding of higher ed, and also the understanding of student loan debt. So we set about basically fixing the operational problems that the department gets attacked on all the time. And I discovered, and basically about 6 months ago, it really became crystal clear that we were making a very broken, flawed system from a law standpoint operate more efficiently, and then basically putting more and more people into a problematic situation. So that got me thinking about what needed to be done. It's crystal clear that it needs to be done by Congress. Crystal clear, in my opinion, it needs to come from the Senate. And when the opportunity to petition for to be basically appointed by Georgia Governor Brian Kemp to replace Johnny Isakson, I saw that as the inflection point.